Have you ever wanted to know the truth? Have you ever wanted to find a missing person? I do. My older brother is that missing person. I sat in my room and I look at a picture of me and my family. This picture was taken the year my brother went missing. My brother liked the picture so much that he had it printed on a t-shirt. He loved our family except for one thing. He didn't believe in the legend. The legend is about the forest in our backyard. It's supposedly cursed. Legend says that people who enter the forest never come back out. I always thought that they were killed by wild animals or were poisoned by plants. However, most of the townsfolk, including my parents, believe that a monster lives in the forest and kills anyone who dares enter this forest. I, of course, didn't believe in his curse. Curses aren't real. My brother was courageous, he loved adventures, and he had always wanted to explore the forest. My parents told him not to. They kept feeding him the monster story, even though my brother was 13 at this point. They pointed at a sign that was placed on a tall spear-top fence surrounding the forest. The sign was written on a piece of wood in red ink, and it said, "Keep away," in a large font. My brother does not seem fazed by the sign, nor the story. A few days later, my parents were away to visit some friends, leaving me and my brother alone. I had to go to bed, and my brother kissed me goodnight. Little did I know that my brother was planning to go to the forest that night. That was the last time I saw him. It's been 10 years since his disappearance. My parents still believe that a monster killed my brother. I was so sick of that myth that I was willing to do anything to prove everyone wrong. Even my friends believe in that bullshit. I decided that I had to settle it once and for all. Tonight, my parents are visiting my grandparents and they won't be back until next morning. They left around 8 o'clock and I was left alone. I took a backpack and I stuffed it with a flashlight, some food, drinks and a camera. I placed my cell phone in my right pocket and a pocket knife in my left. I put on a jacket and my red hat. With that, I was ready. I went outside and I walked towards the fence in my backyard. I turned around to see if anyone was watching me. Fortunately for me, no one was there. I climbed a ladder and I was careful not to place my hand on the spikes. Once I reached the top, I had to make a jump over the fence. Just to make sure I came back to my house alive and all, I tied a piece of rope around the top step of the ladder. The rope would last enough for me to pull the ladder over the fence. It took some effort to do it, but at last, the ladder landed on the dirt next to me. I hid the ladder behind some bushes to make sure that no one knew what I was up to. I had my cell phone in case I needed help. My pocket knife would help me fend off wild animals. I had food and drinks in case I was hungry or thirsty. Lastly, I got myself a camera in case anything happened to me. That way, they'll stop believing in the curse. The sun was setting and I was able to go to the forest without a flashlight. Yet. I knew there was a long trail in the forest. That's what I had to follow to find my brother. I began walking in the trail and I failed to see why the forest is cursed. The trees were nice looking and the flowers were full of colour. What's so scary about that? Night fell and I had to use my flashlight at this point. It's been an hour and no signs of my brother yet. I knew that I had to go on regardless. I was starting to get hungry, and that's when I noticed something. There was an old shack nearby. It was a lucky break for me. Now I was able to sit down and take a break. I entered the old shack and appeared to have been abandoned for a very long time. I found some old pictures, a chair, a table, and an axe. I sat on the chair and unloaded my backpack. I had some chocolate bars and some bottles of apple juice. I ate the bar and drank the sweet-tasting juice. I love apple juice. So did my brother. It is okay, I told myself. You'll find him soon enough. Thump, thump. I jumped. What was that? I had to go and find out. However, a feeling of dread began to linger inside of me. Maybe it was a fox? Or was it? No, it's probably a bobcat. Or even worse, a bear. I stepped outside very quietly, shivering as I do so. I took my flashlight and aimed it at the wall. It was a raccoon. That's just great. I was scared of a goddamn raccoon. However, I had to be careful. Raccoon are known to carry rabies. The raccoon looked at me and ran away. I was relieved. I could have been attacked easily. I began to calm down. I knew that everything was going to be fine. Ring, ring. I jumped again. My damn cell phone went off. It was my parents who were calling. They were wondering if everything was alright. They asked me why my phone had bad reception. I lied that I was at my friend's house. They believed me and they hung up on me. With that, I took my backpack and moved on. By this point, the clouds had cleared away and the moonlight illuminated the trail. The moon was very beautiful, and I admired its elegance. I was so distracted that I failed to realise that the path was blocked by a large tree. I felt something hit me in the face. I couldn't tell what it was. The tree's shadow made it hard to see. I assumed I collided with a branch. I picked up my flashlight to see what it was, and I made a horrifying discovery. It wasn't a branch that I hit. It was a leg. A pair of legs. They were suspended in mid-air. I aimed my flashlight further up. It was a body. It was held in the air by a hangman's noose. I shook in fear. Why did someone kill himself here? I pointed my flashlight at other trees and I screamed. There were more hanged bodies. Some of them were young kids. I can't believe it. So many people hung themselves in this very forest. This has to be the curse that everyone was talking about. There was never a monster. It was just hanged bodies. However, I knew that no one was going to believe me, so I took my camera and I took a picture of every single body I found. Then I approached this one body. I nearly dropped my camera when I saw it. This one looked familiar. It was wearing a jacket, and it had brown hair like my brother's. Its face was ripped off and it was missing an arm. Perhaps something attacked it. Was this my brother? I had to make sure. I unzipped its jacket and my heart stopped. The body was wearing a white t-shirt and had a picture printed on it. I knew this picture. It was the same one that my brother loved. I found him. My brother was in front of me. I now know the full truth. I fell to my knees as I broke down in tears. My brother was dead all this time. I knew now what I had to do. I had to turn around and go back home. I must tell everyone the shocking truth. I picked up my cell phone and I planned on calling the cops about this. I was about to dial the number, then I noticed something nearby. Perhaps my eyes are fooling me, but I see a tall figure standing underneath a tree. It's just an illusion. I know it is. Suddenly, the figure charged at me. He pins me against the ground and I dropped my cell phone. He was wearing an old coat and he wore a hooded mask. I noticed that he was also wearing gloves. Who is this guy? What does he want from me? He picks up my cell phone and throws it into the distance. That's when I remembered the knife. I reached for it and I tried swinging it at his face. The figure, however, saw the knife and proceeded to squeeze my wrist. I felt a shot of pain as he slowly crushed my wrist. My knife couldn't reach his hand, and then I held an audible snap. I yelled in pain as he took the knife away from my hand. The guy then stabbed my other arm so deep that it touched the bone. I screamed as he slid the knife out of my arm. Suddenly, he grabbed something from his coat. It was rope. The guy was a murderer. He killed all those people. I tried to get away, but it was hopeless. He wrapped the rope around my neck and he began to tighten a knot on it. It was getting harder and harder to breathe. This is it. I was destined to die for knowing the truth. My senses began to fade. My vision gets darker and darker. The very last thing I hear is the man's low, demanding voice. I told you to keep away.